Oh,
This guy's still alive.
That's good.
And now I gotta get him on this.
Yeah.
we thought that, John Osborne, you want to wait till.
So I can send it to, do you have the picture of Counselor Alsobrook?
Good, okay. I, Fred Hashimoto, Mayor of Corrales, would like to call this meeting of the council to order on May 26, 2026. First of all, I'd like to say a word about Councilor Alsobrook. John Alsobrook was a valued member of the village. He was serving his 5th term on council, which is longer than anyone else. John listened. He was thoughtful, calm, and made balanced, fair decisions. He could be erudite and or humorous. He was a gentleman dedicated to the village and would be greatly missed. Will you please stand with me and, well, first of all, turn off your cells, please. And let's observe a minute of silence for Councilor Alsobrook.
Oh, no.
Thank you very much. Would you please repeat after me, or repeat with me, the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Our meeting body, present. Councilor Miera,
Present.
Councilor Wolman,
Here.
Councilor Knight,
Here.
Councilor Murray,
Here.
Councilor Alsbrook, absent, and Councilor Burkett.
He's traveling for his daughter's health.
Okay. He's absent. May I have a motion, please, to approve today's agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion passes. Appointments. Councilor Miera.
On the first appointment, as the president pro tem, I'm gonna be taking over just this first one. Joan Hashimoto, for obvious reasons. So we'll go to that order of business appointments. And we have the first one on the agenda is Joan Hashimoto.
Okay.
Is she here?
You might not be able to see her behind the.
I saw the hand go up. Yes, I did. Hi, Joan. Would you like to approach the and talk to us about reappointment to the Bosque Advisory Commission?
Well,
Why don't you state your name and your address, please?
Joan Hashimoto, 485 East La Entrada. Let's see. I think it's my 3rd appointment as the chair of the Bosque Advisory Commission. And I'd like to do it again to continue our work in the Bosque. And do you have any questions for me?
Thank you.
Councilor Wolman.
Thank you, Mayor.
Councilor.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Just very briefly, we've had some negative reports and actually some very good reports, Facebook and elsewhere, on motorized vehicles in the Bosque. And I was wondering if the advisory board could in any way assist whoever is enforcing the police or MRGCD to try to keep motorized vehicles, whether that's four-wheelers or it's e-bikes or whatever it is, out of the Bosque for horses, for pedestrians, et cetera.
We try to report them when we see them.
Yeah.
Sometimes when they whiz by, if I see what color they are, I try to call dispatch about them, but sometimes when I don't, I can't describe
Sure.
them.
Yeah.
I don't. If I can get a video of them, that's helpful, but they are a problem, for sure.
Is there a central number when, if not you or members of your advisory board are not there, but citizens are there walking horses, et cetera, could call and report this description? So if it's repeated, then the police or whomever might be able to get involved,
Well, that would be the dispatch number.
dispatch the county.
Yes. Who would alert the police about
Okay,
it?
it's a bit of a circuitous.
It would be the
Route.
non-emergency
Yeah,
number.
yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Okay, good. Thank you.
sure.
Any other questions, Counselor?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. So Joan, what do you see as the biggest challenge in the Bosque right now besides drought, motorized vehicles and other things? But what do you see as the biggest challenge right coming up?
Our huge dead wood, the presence of dead and down wood there, I think is and trying to get it out
Okay,
is huge. I think right now we're handling the number of users is reasonable and people are pretty good about not littering and the dog poop is a problem, but I mean, we've got the dog bags and the waste cans and things. But our deadwood removal is an ongoing problem and MRGCD is conducting invasives removal, which they did a good job in the spring and they're going to resume. I mean, in the fall and winter, and they're going to resume that
okay,
in the spring.
all right. Thank you.
Counselor Webb?
Just very quick, any idea how many people use the Bosque on a regular basis, on a monthly basis or yearly? No. I don't know if anybody has taken account. I'm just curious. That's okay. I know it's kind of out of the blue, but
On weekends, less so on weekdays,
Yep,
but
yep.
I would say a high number
the hundreds in a weekend.
on weekends.
Yeah.
Yes, I would say so.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Joan, for answering the questions. What is the pleasure of the committee? Representative?
You got a promotion.
Counselor?
I would like to move that we accept all the appointments from number 1 through 11.
Okay,
Discussion on that?
Any
No,
seconds?
no discussion. Any objection to the motion?
is there a second?
I'll second that.
You have a second? Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah.
Council Murray.
Counselor, but I was looking at our attorney. He looked over at me, so seeing no objection to the motion to accept all 1 through 11. We're gonna take a vote on this one?
Yeah, you can do a voice vote if you want,
We can do a
or a roll
voice
call,
vote.
either
All
one.
those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, show everyone sitting in their seats voting in the affirmative. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Congratulations to all of you. Do we have anyone else who's here today that was going to be reelected to their advisory committee? Anyone else? Yes, sir, please. We'd like to know your name and want to thank you for your service.
Dan Barrett, I live in 036 Reclaiming Acres. I'm on the Equine Advisory Committee.
Thank you for
Thank you.
coming here tonight and congratulations on being reappointed.
Andy,
There
yes.
To slow us down. He comes in with the horse teams and the wagon. He slows us down.
He slows us down.
Good for him.
Thank you for that.
Thank you, all the people who serve on these committees.
Somebody on Zoom.
Oh,
Okay, you're on Zoom. You can go ahead and speak.
Your name?
That might be me. Anyway, I'm Janice Teal and I'm nominated for the library board and I'm happy to serve on it again and I appreciate the vote that has already taken place.
thank you,
Well,
Janice.
thank you. We appreciate you. And
Thank
you
you.
just got reappointed.
Good.
Thanks, Commissioner
Mayor, that's
Stewart.
all I have.
Thank you.
Except now may I ask your permission to speak? I have my mother is going to be for everybody's information. In a couple of days, she'll be 100. And but we have someone taking care of her on a regular basis. But tonight there was a little upset, so I'm going to have to leave here. But I'm already on. Going to be with you while I'm traveling to the mom's house. When I get there, I will be on the computer, so we will continue to have a quorum.
Okay.
Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate it. I will leave here about 7.
Thank you.
It's not for you, it's for your.
Next item is the administrator's report. Melanie?
Thank you, Mayor. Council members. I just have 2 quick updates for you. The Stagecoach sweep last month brought in $28,889.64. Year to date, we have earned $99,334.47. And then along those lines, the LGIP last month saw $12,988. So our balance in the LGIP is $4,191,161.28. And with that, I'll take any questions you have about the report.
Councilor Knight.
Thank you. I have 2 questions. One is on page 15. It talks about having a meeting for the Reclining Acres repavement. I thought we were doing a Coronado meeting as well, since those are both roads on the west side that are going to be re-engineered and repaved. So I don't know why only Reclining Acres was identified, but
That was my fault. That was on my brain. I was thinking Reclining Acres, but yes, we were planning on having
for Coronado as well.
Yes.
Great. That's
Yeah.
great.
and we're just going to wait a little bit longer so that we have an idea of where the rest of the funding is coming from for those projects, whether it's coming from the bond that we're selling here in a couple of weeks, or if it's coming from, we've applied for money from NMDOT through a couple of the grants. So once we know where that money's coming from, we'll have a better idea of when those projects might be able to start. And then we can start working with the contractor on dates. So I know it can be very frustrating when we did Meadowlark. I know we had a meeting and then it was another almost 2 years before we saw construction start. So I'm not sure which is worse. We're check is in the mail. We're going to schedule that meeting, or if it's, having the meeting and then having to wait and wait and wait. Well, when are you going to do this? When are you going to do this? So hopefully we'll have some more information this summer and then we'll kind of keep everybody posted.
And there's one other question, and that's for Chief. On the news, they were talking about what was happening in Mountain Air about the hazmat suits. Is our fire department protected with hazmat suits in case you needed them, or what would happen if you needed them?
For all the mufflers and grills.
Mayor, Counselor. So are you asking if we have hazmat suits or
Yeah,
can you re-clarify your question? ma'am?
yeah. I was wondering if we have hazmat suits, and if we don't, what would you do if a case arose where you needed them?
So we do have, Mayor, Council, we have different levels of hazmat suits. We have some members in the department that are trained to the operations level of hazmat. We don't stock any of our equipment to do hazardous material response, but we do have personal protective equipment in a situation like that. As long as we're notified that there's a hazmat incident, we would take precautions, and so there's protocols for that. The particular case in Mountain Air, I've only seen what was on the news. Circumstances like that, sometimes you respond to a residence and you don't really know what's in there until it's too late. But I could assure you that our emergency responders are always wearing their PPE appropriate for the incident.
Okay, I just want to make sure our guys are covered. Because as they said on the news, these guys just walked in and, they got sick right away. So, are there any special equipment that would identify, like through beeping or an alarm that would say, don't go in here or don't go near this place because it has hazardous materials?
So, Mayor, Councilor, in our pre-fire plan inspections and some of our, our businesses, which we've been really focusing on the last 3 years of going and inspecting every business in Corrales. If they're required to have a business license, they may be required to have a fire inspection, even home occupation. So during that process, we identify if there's any sort of hazards that we need to identify. And then we have an app on our phone that we can click on that address to see if there's any special instructions pertaining to, chemicals or paints or something that's going on with the business. In a 911 emergency, it all starts at the calling party, calling the emergency in. Our dispatch center has protocols on questions to ask pertaining to, the incident.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully those questions will ask, we'll be able to get enough information to alert the emergency responders, whether it's police, fire, EMS, responding to an incident like that, to use caution. Again, I have personally been in a situation where you've gone in and it's already too late, right? Because of the lack of knowing what's going on. So we always have to have our senses. We always have to be alert. We always have to be watching out for each other. So.
And actually, Melanie and I are meeting with someone tomorrow about an alert system
Yes, it's tomorrow.
for the village. Red alert apparently is going down or gone, and we're going to have perhaps a new alert system, but we're going to talk about that later this week.
Yeah.
With a vendor. So everybody will be sent an alert by email or cell.
It could also do kind of what you brought up at the last council meeting, Councilor Knight, where a resident had said, can't you just send me a reminder when there's a council meeting? And this system, it's called Text My Gov. A lot of municipalities across the state are using it. And we could actually pre-program in those messages for the whole year once we know when all the council meetings are, and we could send a text to anybody that signed up for those alerts.
Thanks for checking on that. It's super.
Thank you.
I hope I answered your questions.
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Any more questions for Melanie? Councilor Murray.
Thank you. So when you were talking about cell coverage in the village, especially in the north end, we're rather limited where towers can go. Either it's the commercial area off of Academy Drive or it's up on top of Angel Hill. Is that what you're looking for, or are you looking at maybe co-locating on utility poles, smaller systems?
So right now, we're just kind of trying to identify areas where there's not good service to see if maybe the panels on the towers can be pointed in a different direction, or maybe the signal needs to be boosted. So we're not looking at additional towers quite yet. This is just the initial discussions to see if we can get better cell phone coverage. So if there are places or if there are residents that notice some areas in the village that have really bad service, please let me know. And I'm going to share that with our cell phone providers.
Trees do provide, or they do impede cell coverage. And one of the things when I was on P&Z, when we drafted the cell tower language, we were trying to protect the canopy because we didn't want all these towers poking up through the canopy, because it just looked bad when you were up on the escarpment, you're looking out over the village. And, so it's one reason why we drafted the cell tower language the way we did. But I don't know, does AT&T still have a tower down on the commercial property, or because they fought awful hard for that. They took us to court and they won. I just wondered, did they ever build?
I know we've got one cell phone tower behind the fire station, and then we have one here.
Nothing down there off Academy Drive? Because that's where
Chief,
they were.
do you know if we have one down there?
So, I mean, if they can co-locate on that tower, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Mayor, Council, I didn't hear the question about, but are you asking about the
If-
Academy Tower site?
Yeah, did that get
There
built?
is a cell tower at the Academy. I believe that one is AT&T.
Right.
And then the one at the fire station off of Corellis Road is a Verizon. And then the one here at Village Hall is either AT&T or T-Mobile. I can't remember.
Yeah.
The police chief.
No, I was just saying if they co-locate on the
AT&T?
same towers, that'd be great.
Yeah.
And actually, sometimes, one vendor is better than the other, right? For Joan and me, she's got, well, for a while she had T-Mobile, I had Verizon, and T-Mobile is a lot better. So I switched to T-Mobile from Verizon. And so I think depending where you are, sometimes the different vendors have different strengths.
So also on the DOT meeting that was they postponed, are we now going to shift the schedule every 2 months?
Yeah,
based on
so it'll
that?
be, our next meeting will be, I believe, June 18th, and then it'll be 2 months.
Are they just going to keep doing that? Are they?
I sure hope not. I sure hope not.
kicking the can
They,
down
they,
the road?
they did say they didn't have any updates for us. And so we could have met and just been like, no updates, cool, high five, and all gone on our way.
Well,
But
I mean, I'd
you
still
know.
like to see the pathway between the Montessori and the
They're-
rec center cleaned up.
he said they're still trying to find any kind of agreements or anything like
That
that.
sounds like
So,
they're kicking it down the can, the can down the road, because it just, that's typical of what they've done in the
Yeah.
past. But they own it.
Yeah.
They own the road. Why don't they just say, yeah, you can do that?
you can do it. Yeah.
And actually, they have two studies that are supposedly ongoing right now, the speed study on Corrales Road and the four-way stop signs on Corrales Road. And that should be pretty much done by now.
Yeah, the data collection should be about done, and then they're going to start their crunching the numbers, and then they expect recommendations by early fall.
Yeah. Councilor Knight and Councilor Woolman.
Thank you again. I have one more question. On page 43, it's about the Main Street Quarterly Report. Can I ask?
She'll give that next, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the next after the administrator's report. So
Yeah.
we'll have Angela give that report next.
Thank you.
Councilor Woolman?
Thank you, Mayor. Melanie, at the last meeting, we heard continuing and new concerns about the clean and lean
Mhm.
on Old Church. I think Dennis was in Silver City at the time. Do we have any updates of what's happening there?
I don't have any updates, but we'll get one for you for the next meeting.
There's all that metal coming in and everything.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I guess Lori is on
Okay.
on Zoom for us, and she does have an update.
Thank you, Council, Mayor, Administrator. Yes, Dennis and I are going to go out. Can't remember if it's the end of this week or the early part of next week. A couple of neighbors have said they will allow us to go look at their properties. It appears that there is a 36-foot by 8-foot structure that's gone up without a permit. We never did get a permit for the red shed. The two very unsightly sheds full of junk still exist on the Corrales roadside, as well as a camper that will never go down the road again that's being used to store junk. I have seen some pictures today that someone sent of car parts. Apparently, they have a little car business going on there. So we're going to go take pictures, and this is far from done. This is kind of their history of, you threaten them with some kind of action, and a lot of cleanup gets done, and then 10 minutes later, they're back at it again. And I think that's where we are. And we can certainly have a report for you at the next council if you would like.
great. Thank you. Thank you, Lori. Yeah, the allegation was, I don't know if you heard the meeting last meeting. The allegation was that they're bringing in all kinds of metal for recycling and for sale, large pieces, small pieces, as if a new business is starting on that property. So that was one of the main concerns. So thank you.
Councilor Murray?
Yeah, along those lines, Lori, at the meeting, the inspector more or less said that the applicants had met the intent of the clean and lean. I think that's going to bite us in the butt in the future, because obviously what's going on right now is he thought they were mostly cleaned up. They have made the attempt, it done well, and then here we are right back around, circling around. So I think we're going to have a hard no on this, and just not accept, oh, you've met the intent of this. We're just going to have to say, you have to do it all, and we'll say when it's clean.
I wholeheartedly agree with you, Counselor. We're far from clean.
And technically, the clean and lean is still in effect. The council has not rescinded it. So
Right.
It's
But
still active.
Didn't we have a timeline?
So we did give the applicant a timeline before the village would step in. So at this point, if they have not met that timeline, the village can step in and go clean up the property.
Okay, very good.
Well, the timeline was 60 days, right?
Right.
To March 31st?
Yeah. Yeah. So that time has come and gone. And
But everything is still in effect.
yes.
Nothing's changed. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Until we either, clean it up and place the lien on the property, or council rescinds it and says, nope, you've cleaned up enough. We're going to take this off the table.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still out there.
Thanks.
Any other questions for Administrator? Next item is Main Street Quarterly Report. Angela, you want to take the podium and say what you'd like to say?
Yes, Mayor, Counselors and administration, thanks. Sorry, Counselor Knight, did you have a question?
I did have a question. On page 43 of the agenda, it talks about volunteer coordination.
Mhm.
And I didn't know if maybe people got thought that the volunteers get $34 an hour and that they get paid for that.
I see.
Because I think we need to have that revisited, because that isn't how it works, right?
Correct. So that reference is the current value by the state for any volunteer hour, I believe with the 501c3. So anybody volunteering should be, I think, logging those hours. They're important because they show the value. And we keep the running total for reference for everybody to know. And it's probably understated at some level because it's hard to, keep track of every single volunteer hour. But yes, all the organizations in Corrales, that's the value for the hours given.
That they put in, but
Yes.
they don't get paid that.
No, but if,
So I need to ask you a specific question, because
Okay.
one of my constituents asked me,
yeah,
does your mom get paid for anything she does on the,
she does not.
she does not,
She's
okay?
also a volunteer.
Okay, and you as an employee, you do get paid because,
I'm a staff person
Right.
for our organization.
okay,
And the remaining structure is a volunteer working board. And we emphasize working because there are a lot of volunteer hours given, not just with our organization, obviously, all of them in Corrales are very heavy working boards, I would say. So
okay, well,
thank you for asking that.
I appreciate that, and hopefully this is cleared up with my constituent who had
Yeah.
misgivings about
What the reference
100%,
was.
right?
And that has always been on our quarterly report. I think it's an important figure for people to understand, the value of the volunteer hour.
Okay, thank you.
Counselor Murray.
Thank you, Mayor. So looking at the spreadsheet that you gave us about the whether the properties are rented or so, looks pretty tight right now. Is most of the properties being filled with businesses?
I actually was able, after I submitted that, just by chance, to add another one that'll be on, and I can, resubmit to you guys. That is the information that we currently have for what is at each address. I hope it's accurate, but it changes here and there too. But I believe most addresses are on there, if that's your question.
Well, I mean, are they being utilized and filled by businesses?
It's a mix of residential and business.
Yeah.
I think most of the residentials are noted on there. If not,
Pretty fine print. I need.
if there could be a chance that residentials are not noted on there. We'd have to go back and kind of fine tooth comb that. But the businesses at the addresses within that area are listed with one addition that I
Well,
believe.
usually they're highlighted for rent or they're, what's the other, for sale. So I'm just curious,
Yeah.
if that's changed or if we still, things are pretty tight.
It's as up to date as we have. And I think we designate rent versus the owner of the business versus the owner of the property. But obviously we can reformat or change it if it would, be more easy and to read, who's doing what. But at the top, I believe it's owner, contact, and then business owner.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Waldman?
Thank you, Mayor. Angela, talk about prized possessions.
Yeah.
You're having difficulty locating the owners?
No, I wouldn't say we have not made a strong effort in any way to reach out. I think we initially offered to help or give assistance if any would be desirable, but then have not been an entity that's actually outreached the owner.
I mean, it's not a boarded up business, but at the same time, it's not an active business, and maybe a little push one way or the other.
I think I know for me, just out of respect, we didn't say and hadn't had any anything other than just offering to help if with inventory or something that might be a big lift with things like that.
Yeah.
I believe in Melanie can obviously assist in this, but don't have a vacant building ordinance. Is that correct?
Correct.
I know some municipalities do, and so that is part of the conversation probably. But yeah, that was one of my favorite places to stop in and see Janet. So yeah.
One other question, if I could, bit controversial. Goes back a few years. Major study was done, major discussions about the Art and Cultural District. I was wondering if there is any thought given to revisiting that with perhaps a refocus on what you've heard from the community in terms of what emphasis should be aligned with the comprehensive plan.
Sure.
And is that something that you and your people are possibly looking at?
I would say, since March of 2025, really there has not been any conversation about the exact future of it. Obviously, we've talked about the amount of volunteer hours and work that has
painful
been to it. Yeah, prior to my time, and the many organizations that were involved with the original application. And then I'll touch on Viva Corrales because it was, the signature event for the Arts and Cultural District. The support offered through that event is a good example of a really positive thing, that came out of that work. Our organization itself has no plans to move it forward until it would be something, I think, from the community or the council that could define the desirability for it, if that makes sense. I think we only want it to be a positive thing.
Sure.
And so that's
Good.
kind of our take on it.
Good. Okay. Thank
Actually,
you.
I'd like
I
to
appreciate that.
step in just a little bit. Maybe moving ahead or looking ahead a little bit is for the contract between Corrales Main Street and the village. What I found really positive is, quote, contractor will engage a full-time executive director whose primary focus will be preservation-based economic activity and work closely with the village to foster economic activity. So I think that's sort of alignment with what a lot of people were talking about. As far as let's preserve what we've got. Main Street will help us preserve what we got, and their activities will be involved toward that end. And so I find that very positive in the contract that we're about to approve a couple of items later with Corrales Main Street that, it's looking not for how many jobs they're going to bring in or what the GRT is going to be or how much money we're going to bring or travel or tourists we're going to bring to the village,
Right.
but, to really primarily preserve what we got, but obviously Corrales is going to change and, develop, and we just have to develop with it. But certainly a primary focus should be, preserve we're so lucky we got what we got.
Yep. I think the concern was the economic activity and what that implies if not handled properly. And the comprehensive plan addresses that, and a lot of the residents have spoken about that in the past. So I would align myself with your remarks in terms of preserving and moving forward. So I thank you for considering that.
Yeah, well, and we appreciate just the willingness to talk about, the current state. I think when I first started, things were quite different than they are now, even in the contract. But it is a flexible document, and I think that's the benefit to the Main Street program, is that it should fit the community, and to continue to work with it is the goal, I think, and always has been. So appreciate it.
Any other questions? Councilor Knight.
Thank you, Mayor. I noticed here that the Corrales Post Office, it doesn't have listed an owner. Do you know who owns that?
I
property?
actually don't know the name of the owner. I could certainly.
No, the reason I asked because,
Yeah.
people are concerned that, when the lease is up, it's going to be turned into who knows what.
Sure.
So, yeah, I think we need to find that out.
Yeah, probably a good piece of information to have. I'm happy to ask the postmaster. He's a really nice guy, so I'm sure he'd be willing to at least share whatever he's allowed to. And that is, I think, a contractor-driven post office as well. It's not
Right.
actually a USPS.
And maybe find out when the lease is really up.
Okay, yeah, I will certainly inquire. I don't mind asking.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Angela? Yeah, I think Main Street's done a nice job in supporting small businesses here, and I hear from people how Main Street has been very supportive and answer questions and help them. So
I
thank you.
appreciate it. And each business is so different that, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you, Angela.
Thank you very much.
Next item on the agenda is the Corraleños Forum. This section is for informational purposes only, not for discussion and debate, to inform the governing body of an issue or concern that will not be addressed on the agenda during the business session. There will be a 3-minute time limit for each speaker. Mandy, how many speakers do we have?
2.
Oh, okay.
But we have speakers for Main Street agreements later.
For the forum, though, there's only 2. Okay.
Sam Thompson. Mayor and councilors, my name is Sam Thompson. I live at 1737 Camino de la Tierra. I am president of the Corrales Farmers Cooperative, and I just want to give you a quick update. As you know, we have been involved in trying to obtain grants, and we've been successful. We have a Thornburg grant that's going on right now, and we appreciate that the village is serving as our fiscal agent for that. Last week, Councilor Murray and I, and about 120 of our closest friends, were on a Zoom webinar from NMSU about water efficiency grants that are going to be available. And we've got an idea, the co-op does, of something that we think would be very useful for our farmers in terms of pairing their micro irrigation with smart water controllers and sensors in the ground, and comparing the water efficiency of these across some of our farms and the major crops that they're growing across the farms. Now, I bring you up to date on this because we may be asking you again to help us to be the sponsor of it. I have reached out to NMSU to see if we need a sponsor or if the co-op is an adequate sponsor for that. They have certain rules that they go by. We're probably not going to be able to be a sponsor, so we may be turning to the village. And we just wanted to come forward and say we're trying to do what we can to help our farmers get through this difficult time. And if we can come up with a way for them to more efficiently use their micro irrigation, it keeps some of that water in that bowl that we're all drawing on, and that's a good thing. And I wanted to thank the village for the support they give to the co-op. We greatly appreciate it.
Question for you, Sam. These sensors, would they be paid for by the Thornburg grant?
the grant would pay for the sensors and the smart controllers.
Okay.
And I have.
But not the Thornburg grant, the NMSU grant, right?
MSU grant?
Right, would be
Yeah.
separate from the Thornburg grant.
Okay.
And then I have, I'm working on coming up with a workshop with Ciudad Soil and Water Conservation to bring in micro irrigation to some of our farms, and hopefully that will be free for them as well. So we're trying to get all of this equipment in as many farms as we can for free.
Right. Also, it'd be nice to have moisture and rainfall sensors for sprinklers in the village, whether it's individual or municipal. I think, after this rain we've had, hopefully we don't see any rainbird
I
sprinklers
can
tomorrow and the next day.
I guarantee you will see.
I know.
It drives me crazy when I see them. But yeah, the smart water irrigation controllers are fantastic. And what we would be looking at is the efficiency of the in-ground sensor versus evapotranspiration and linking things to weather app. So think different ways
Cool.
to do it, but what would be most efficient? That would be the question.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much.
Thank you, Sam.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bob Eichhorst?
Bob Eichhorst, live in Corrales. First, I'd like to say that I enjoyed working with John quite a bit. I will announce that the license plate readers have been taken down on Meadowlark. They're not there anymore. He didn't take them down because you guys voted get along with Rio Ranchos. That's great. Okay, let me get into this. In your ICIP, you've got electric charging stations, electric car charging stations. I object to it. It's $300,000. If they don't have a charger at their house, then they can walk. You're not putting in gas stations for my house. Don't put in electric charging stations. You're trying to appease a governor that's going to be out of office. We don't need $300,000 wasted. Okay, next one. Later on the agenda, you're going to discuss fireworks. If you have page 79 on fireworks, the sale or use of fireworks is prohibited on all lands, public or private, within the village as follows. Parentheses 1, stick-type rockets having a tube less than 5/8 of an inch outside diameter and less than 3.5 inches in length. I think that's reading backwards. I think if it's less than that, they should be allowed. If it's bigger than 5/8, you got a regular skyrocket. So I think you just need to look at that one and check that. I think it's just backwards.
Bob, if you're going to comment on items in the agenda, you ought to
But
comment.
there's no place to sign up for.
Place to sign up on that one.
There's no place to sign up. Okay, I'm
There's no
sorry.
place to sign up.
Cool.
Last meeting, Stuart suggested we look at the lights like Los Ranchos has. I don't like Corrales being compared to Los Ranchos ever. But I think we need to make sure we work with the police chief and see what street stop signs are being ignored and only put blinking red lights on the stop signs that are being ignored. Because we don't need blinking red lights all through this village 24 hours a day, just for the heck of it. So, thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Next item, the Counselors Forum. This section is for informational purposes only, not for discussion and debate, to inform the governing body of an issue or concern that would not be addressed on the agenda during the business session. Any counselors? Counselor Murray.
Thank you. So just to piggyback on what Ms. Thompson was saying. Okay. I'm done. No, the meeting that was by the New Mexico Water Advocates was very informative. And also the water resiliency program is by the New Mexico State. They have $9 million and they're offering $300,000 grants. Yeah, now the problem is you have to apply, and then it will, July 30th is the cutoff date. So it's going to be pretty tight trying to do it, but they've got an online portal for applications. It's kind of disjointed, at least I thought it was, but I think it's very doable for our farmers if they can establish and get in there. It's $300,000. Of course, you're working with the feds, but that's joy. You know, that's the problem with money and so forth. But the New Mexico Water Advocates meeting was very, very informative because there were graphics put up, and I sent an email to the administration, also to Sam, also to Mary Ellen, and to have her pass it around as well. It shows the Rio Grande as it was before we started pumping. And then also it shows now currently, and it is dramatically different. So we really need to step up, and as a village and as administration, we need to look at our water usage, make sure we're not wasting water at all. And then ours, the residents too. Take a look at your water as well. If you've got a green grass yard, maybe you need to think about that, because that is using water. I know a lot of the homes are not metered, but I have a feeling it's coming, because you're allocated. I think I was told that after 1994, you were left with 1 acre foot. Prior to that, you might have had 3 acre feet. And consequently, we do not know as a residents what we're pumping out of the reservoir, out of the ground. So I think we need to take a look at that. But I'm asking the residents, please take a look at your water usage and try to minimize that as much as possible. Then I had a thought about a resident asked me to do something, and I can't remember what it is. Anyway, I'll think about it and I'll just send an email. Anyway, sorry. I mean, I had meant to write it down. I should write it down, but I didn't. Yeah.
Any other counselors? Okay. Actually, I have a question. Lori, are you still with us? No? Mandy,
Yeah,
is
I'm
Lori-
here. Sorry, I couldn't get it to unmute.
Lori, I have a question. New homes versus remodelings and any renovations. They're 2 separate items for planning and zoning. You know how much GRT we get from them. How do they compare as far as you know what we benefit from GRT from construction of new homes versus construction on current homes?
Well, as far as GRT in homes, it would come from the construction company for the actual construction of, and then that would be it. The only income from a residence after that point would be from property taxes.
You know, but I thought the value was pretty well. I mean, at least the value of new construction was 0 for this month, but often it's higher. But the value for the construction value for remodeling and renovation was like $1 million. It was substantial. What does it run throughout the year as far as new construction versus construction on existing properties?
I think we average 25 to 29 new homes per year, and then about double that in terms of just actual real renovations, adding on versus redoing a room. So about 50 remodels or additions, and then perhaps 25 to 29 new homes per year is the average.
Yeah, I was just impressed with it, like about $1 million for the total cost of renovation and you know of current structures. Yes, Councilor Murray.
Well, what does that do to the valuations of the properties around the remodels and the new homes? Does the Sandoval tax assessor, do they reevaluate their valuations and raise them? Because that seems like that's always been a sticky wicket with
Right.
you know, for taxes.
I mean, I guess theoretically they should, but
I know the assessor's office said that they do reevaluations of properties like that every 3 years, and they kind of rotate around
Well,
the
did
different
we-
areas of San
Did you though go anywhere from 80 to like $150 million in valuation?
Right. That's because this year was our turn for reevaluation. So
They do that, what, every 3 years, 2 years?
the county assessor's office, when we met with them back when Mayor Fahey was mayor, they told us every 3 years they go around and they set eyes on every single property, and then they do a reevaluation at that point. So they have they can go up to 3% per year, but they do, a different kind of valuation every 3 years.
So 3% of the tax version per year, or 3% of the valuation?
I just know it's a 3% cap. I'm not totally positive how that works. Ken, do you have an answer to that?
Mr. Mayor, Counselor, Administrator. Yeah, am I on? The revaluation of property is limited to 103% what it was the year before. So the value of property can't go up more than 3%. Residential property can't go up by more than 3% annually unless there has been substantial work on it, unless it's been improved, substantially improved.
So the properties around a remodel, say it went from $1 to $3 million for that property, but the surrounding properties can only go up 3% from what they were the prior year.
That's correct, Counselor, until there's a change of ownership.
Okay.
Which is mostly common sense, what you would think of as a change of
Yeah,
ownership.
but it's sticker shock when, the home sells.
It's, some people call it tax lightning.
Yes.
Where it started in California, it became known as the welcome stranger rule, because the new homeowner now suddenly is going to be paying a lot more in taxes. So welcome stranger.
And actually, go ahead, I'm sorry.
The other side of it is that you're limited for all those years to 3%. So,
Okay.
So,
But this came up during the discussion of lot size, lot coverage. The resident said that, McMansion next to her would raise her taxes significantly. You shouldn't?
assuming that again, it can't be raised more than 3% any year.
No matter McMansions go up next to you, it doesn't matter.
You can
3%.
I don't know about striking gold maybe, but the general rule is unless there's a change of ownership, the valuation of the property can't increase by more than 3%.
Oh, that's nice to know. Yeah.
It's in the statute. So thank you,
Yeah.
legislators.
Yeah, yeah. Because it was, the numbers she quoted was really significant as far as how much more taxes she would have to pay if McMansions were built next to her. But only 3%. Okay, Councilwoman.
Yes, I think the concern of that resident was the cumulative effect over a number of years. So she had lived in her house for 30 years, and at 3% every year for 30 years. I think that was her concern. So, yep,
Okay.
yep.
Okay, any other councilors? Okay, moving along. Consent agenda. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Quick question.
Yes, Councilor Murray.
So the $30,000 increase for the, if I can find where I was at again. What was that $30,000
Page
adjustment?
51.
Huh?
Page 51.
Oh, thank you. Thought you would tell me I was on. Yeah, so the adjustment for 30,000, it says to increase wastewater revenue. Is that it? Are we charging more, or is that where'd that money come from?
I believe it was just we brought in more money than we had anticipated.
Okay. I mean, it's pretty sizable compared to what we had appropriated.
Tanya, are you on the Zoom?
I am, and I raised my hand. Thank you, Mayor, Councilors, Administrator Romero. Yes, so we've already brought in like 18 or 19,000 more than last year. And we only budgeted for 40,000, so we're already over our budget. And then we have some long-term debt that is getting ready to be paid off. That's going to bring in another couple thousand. So we increased it so we wouldn't need to do another budget adjustment later. Does that answer your question?
So I caught the 18,000 unexpected. What was the rest of it?
Okay, can you hear me better now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. Mayor, Council, Administrator Romero. So we were already 18,000 above what we only budgeted for 40,000 in revenue from wastewater. We have another commercial property coming online. We have several residential properties coming online. And then we have some long-term debt that we've been working on collecting that they are now paying off. So I estimated we probably need 20 to 25, but instead of having to come back again at the end of the year, I went for the 30.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, so we have a motion and a second. And this is just, it's not roll call, is it?
Mhm.
It is?
Yeah.
Roll call vote. Okay. Counselor Oldman, how do you vote?
Aye.
Counselor Knight?
Aye.
Counselor Murray?
Yes.
Motion carries.
No, Councilor Mier has to vote too.
Counselor Miera?
Sir.
Your vote? Yea or nay, consent agenda?
So unmute.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Next item, new business. Number 1, nominations and possible vote to fulfill the vacancy of the District 4 council seat for the unexpired term of office per statute NMSA 3-12-1. This item is mandated by state statute. There's no nomination now. There's going to be no approval now of any nomination. The state statute says vacancy of the governing body of a mayor council municipality shall be filled by appointment of a qualified elector by the mayor of the municipality with the advice, the consent, and a majority vote of the members of the governing body that are present. So what's happening, as I stated in the mayor's message, is there's a link to an application for anyone who would like to serve the remaining term or 2 years until the next general election of Councilor Alsobrooks' position. The applications will be accepted until 5 o'clock on Friday, and a nomination will be made by me at the next meeting on the 9th of June, and whereupon council will vote to approve or not approve that nomination. If it's not approved, it goes on and on, but state wants to have this position filled, and that's why they call this meeting is important and on the agenda. But next meeting, I'll have a nomination, and it will be up to the council to approve or not. And if not, it goes to the next meeting and it keeps on going. Any questions? Councilor Murray, then Councilor Woolman.
Yeah, so say we get 10 applicants, how much information will we have to review for those applications to make our determination? Because if I just given a name, I'm lost. I'd like to see some kind of a resume or it's kind of like what we have with our councils. Why do you want to apply? Why do you want to serve? And that,
right.
So
well, there is an application form that'll be on, and if they want to append any documents, letters, or whatever, that can be available too, just like for a commission or committee.
So
right.
Can they submit also maybe what is it, a
CV?
It's a resume?
I'm sorry?
A CV?
No, it's what I'm thinking is where you go around and get your neighbors' support.
Oh, a petition?
Yeah.
A petition isn't required.
I know, but I mean,
but if they wanted to take the time, I suppose they could.
Yeah.
But yeah, we We changed up the application from the boards and commissions and use that. So it's similar questions to when we're appointing a board member. So you'll have those kinds of questions.
Yes, Councilor Wellman.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm not sure what the options are, but Melanie, how many people subscribe now to the mayor's message?
So at one point we were up over 1,800, but I went through and I took out some of the duplicates. So we did drop down below 1,600, but we're just shy of 1,600 people.
Okay. And I'm just concerned with 8,500 people in the village that the word isn't getting, it may not get out. For transparency, it would be nice. Again, I don't know what the options are other than that, but it would be nice to have another vehicle to.
And the applicant does have to be registered to vote and live in District 4. So,
right.
Yeah.
Right. And do we know how many people are in District 4? Probably not.
I could go back and look at how many people were registered when I ran the election in 2022. I think I still have those numbers. And it was very odd to me. Our districts are kind of odd. We have 2 districts with over 700 people in them. And then we have a couple where there's less than 200. So I'm not sure how that happened when we created our district, but
larger properties.
Probably. Yeah.
Okay.
Councilor Murray.
Well, can we use the electronic signs to post here somewhere?
Oh, that's a good idea.
By the bank, and say, if you're in
Steve?
District 4, apply applications available for a council position.
Yeah.
I think,
The mayor's message for Lane.
well, okay, speaking of, you must have dropped me out because
Do you have a Comcast address?
no,
Oh,
but I was getting 2.
Yeah.
But I'm not.
you're not getting any now. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not even seeing the.
Which-
Police chief.
Okay.
It's my.
You want to use your village address?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll double check and make sure. We've had some issues. Comcast started blocking our messages. So anybody who had a Comcast email address, they weren't getting it. And our IT people had to go in and work their magic. And it was something with, I don't understand how it works, but so yes, anybody with a Comcast address was not getting it. Anybody with a Gmail address, it goes to your spam folder for the first 3 or 4 times that we send it. And then you have to go in and accept it and say, yes, this is. So I'm looking at other options for our mailing list. And this, the text.my.gov that we have a meeting with tomorrow has an email option that might solve some of those issues for us. So, but no, using the electronic signs is a good idea. Thank you, Counselor.
Yeah. Any other comments on this?
Well, I just say, put a sign here on Cross Road, put a sign on Loma Larga. And
Yeah.
We'll,
Yeah. Cool.
or, and put, just.
How many electronic signs do we have?
2.
Good. Okay.
So do we
Moving on,
need to
next item.
postpone the item then?
Pardon me?
Do we need to get a motion to postpone the item since we aren't actually voting on it?
Yeah, may I have a motion, please, to postpone this item to the next meeting on the 9th of June?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? Is it a roll call? or-
You can just do it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, consideration action, approval of Main Street Professional Services Local Agreement. And do I have a motion for approval,
To
please?
approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Councilor Murray.
Well, I'm just curious, is there any substantial changes from the previous contract? Because it's hard to tell when we get these things posted up. There's no markouts or anything like that. So I'm just curious, any significant changes? I mean, we saw the same $55,000, right?
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
As I said, I thought the very significant item or the whole tenor of it was, to focus on preservation base economic type of development instead of just GRT, jobs, traffic, people in the village. And so I thought that was very positive. And that was a significant change.
Yeah.
And it was reflected in several points in that contract.
Yeah. Yeah. I think along those lines, under the scope of work, they did change up. The previous agreements had just said that the Main Street will work to increase GRT for the village. And now they've added in increased GRT to pay for services to increase the quality of life for residents, which I think is a really great kind of focus. And Main Street's really working towards, that preservation and working with the village and, maintaining things for residents and maybe shifting that focus a little bit instead of, because people are still going to come to the village and, some of what Main Street can do for us is teach people how to be good visitors, and use some of those funds to say, hey, if you come to Corrales, this is how to be a good visitor. And we've had these discussions for the last couple of years. I think there's some communities in Europe where they actually have, like signs up that say, if you're going to visit our community, these are some rules to follow. And I don't think we're going to go that far, but, just some ideas on how to, increase that quality of life and hopefully reduce some of the tension between visitors and people who call this home.
Councilor Waldman?
Yes, maybe an unfair question, but Jim, and this may fall into what the discussions with NMDOT, but where are we with the pedestrian, you knew it was coming, with the pedestrian access route?
Mayor and councilors, to answer the question about the New Mexico DOT, I think I'll go back to Councilor Murray's comment that I'm not sure is what it really boils down to. We started out almost a year ago now with a new administration in District 3.
Yeah.
And there were some really bright lights, if you will, or signs of a willingness to try to get things accomplished as it relates to the PAR project. But over the last 90 days, 6 months, my enthusiasm has dwindled a little bit because we've had this same situation that we had in the past where meetings get canceled and it just kind of kicks it down the road with, as Councilor Murray was saying earlier, and that sort of thing. We're specifically what Main Street is waiting for at this point is DOT is supposed to give us a list of whatever it is, 5 things, 10 things that if you do these things, we should be able to get the PAR project to move forward and get it in place. And we have yet to receive that list. So,
And you have a meeting on the 18th. Would that be part of the agenda that you'll ask?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The PAR project is one of the rolling agenda items. It's on every single.
yeah, it is on the agenda all the time, but
Yeah. And I have sent emails to the group that we met with separately. Was that February, March? I can't quite remember, but earlier this year when they promised to deliver those items to us. And I sent a reminder email. It's been about a month now, so I'll send another one. But yeah, they said they would send us the safety requirements that are now in place that we would have to follow. And yeah, we haven't seen those.
And as I recall, it's not too far down on our ICIP list either. So hopefully we can get this thing moving.
correct.
So, good. Thank you.
Okay, certainly.
Any other comments?
Oh, Mandy, did we have some public comment?
So Sabine Schroeder was signed up for the Main Street local agreement. And then Teresa and Pat McClernand for the second agreement.
Okay.
it's
So
one?
just one for this item and then 2 for the
next
state
item.
agreement. Yes.
Okay, Sabine?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Sabine Schurter, 47 Rincon Road. The one-year CMS contract states that it is mutually beneficial to coordinate efforts to market and promote the village in order to increase economic activity and the quality of life of village residents. This raises an important question. Is increased economic activity still improving the quality of life in Corrales? I have 4 comments to make that may call this into question. Population and economic growth in and beyond Corrales have created a surge in demand for local real estate, resulting in high property values that risk displacing long-term and less affluent residents throughout the village. In the Main Street district, some commercial properties priced in the $1 million range are out of reach for many businesses, risking the displacement of longstanding and beloved Corrales businesses. There's examples. The relaxed and quiet lifestyle in Corrales, often touted by realtors and the media, is disappearing for many residents. Rapid economic growth, especially in the entertainment and hospitality sectors, has introduced localized environmental stressors such as noise and light pollution, as well as increased traffic and parking issues. These developments are not entirely Main Street's fault. It happened. But my point is simply that in Corrales, the positive correlation between economic development and quality of life may have declined past zero and into negative territory. The question is, does economic activity decrease the quality of life in Corrales? This may call Main Street's role in Corrales into question. The governing body may want to scrutinize the contract and the MOU more carefully before granting approval. Is Corrales Main Street still a good fit for Corrales? The question should be allowed to be asked. Or should village resources instead be directed toward expert planning that recognizes a rural character can be preserved through thoughtful design and planning processes that involve the people who must live with the results? Thank you very much.
Any more discussion by council? We have a motion and a second, and if there's no more discussion, we can vote. It's not a resolution, is it?
No.
All in favor of approving Main Street Professional Services local agreement, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next item, consideration, action approval of Main Street Biennial MOU State Agreement. May I have a motion, please, to start the discussion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? It's Councilor Murray.
Thank you. So I was kind of questioning at the title on page 60, it says New Mexico Main Street Program, comma, Village of Corrales and Corrales Main Street Arts and Cultural District / compound. I don't think we have an arts and district compound, do we? I was a little concerned about the language there. Is that in conflict with what we're doing? Because we didn't approve an arts and cultural district, but yet it's mentioned here as like we have one.
Was that a carryover from our last?
And Jim, do you have a thought about it? I think because we've been considered in the application process, basically, it's not an accredited, it's not an authorized or designated, but I think leaving the words there allows for what Councilor Waldman was asking, because the process is so intense to get to, leaving it there is part of the state.
Yeah, I think my explanation would go like this as it relates to that, and that is that the state Main Street considers us an arts and cultural district, but
Like an application process.
in the application process, and yet we have not met all the steps to get formally approved for that, which was by not having an arts and cultural plan that was voted down last summer. And so that's why that language is in there, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, in the attachment, it does say you can start the application process and mentions it. It's just where up in the upper part of the document, I was a little concerned that, that kind of implies that we are one. And yet I was looking.
Yes, I understand. what you're saying. And I'm just looking it up now, so I couldn't think of the wordage, but it's called a startup arts and cultural district. So the language sits there instead of removing it and starting the 10-year process over basically again. But nothing, unless we had the designation. For example, we couldn't apply for funding or get anything that a designated arts and cultural district would be allowed to have until we actually have the designation. I totally understand your question, but I think that's the reason it remains, because we're still considered in startup mode until that expires as well from the state perspective.
Okay, so it doesn't impede anything else for any other funding that you're seeking?
No, the Arts and Cultural District, the easiest way to think about it is what it does is if the village were to apply for something, or Main Street were to apply for something that's considered a competitive funding, having that designation gives you another leg up because it's so hard to attain, I think, or, recognized from the people involved that it's not an easy designation to get. It sets apart from a positive perspective if they have it when it comes to applying for grants or funding.
So the other thing is, seemed to me, I don't remember seeing this state application before. Is that
Like
correct?
the original application?
Well, I mean, even this says covers from July 1st of 2026 to June 30th of 2028. Was there a previous?
But Mayor, Councilor Murray, yes, there has been for years, every 2 years, and current one expires June 30, 26.
That's probably why I'm not going to run for office again, because they're really bad.
But yes, it is the short answer to your question. It's been there for a long time.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, lacking any discussion, let's have a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Lemira to vote too?
Councilor Mira, how do you vote? Councilor Mira.
He just has to
He's asleep.
He's got his mute on.
You're muted, sir. You could give us a thumbs up. That's a yes. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Mira. Motion carries. Next item. Consideration action approval of resolution 2628 declaring an emergency, recognizing the existence of severe drought conditions in the village of Corrales, prohibiting the sale or use of fireworks within the village during the continuation of drought conditions, authorizing officers of the village to enforce the prohibition on sale or use of fireworks, and providing for administrative review when climatic conditions improve. Move to approve. Actually,
We had two more people that wanted to speak for the second agreement.
Oh,
well, I guess we've already voted, but yeah, I'm sorry that we didn't allow public discussion, but if someone wants to give a public comments, come up.
Teresa Lopez.
Oh, we can always revote.
Just ask.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, well, do we need a second on that?
Seconded.
Any discussion? Cool.
Thank you.
Councilor Mayor?
See that thumb?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Okay, go ahead, Teresa.
Teresa Lopez Corrales. Main Street's mission statement includes the words conserves and interprets local culture and heritage, resulting in increased economic vitality of each participating local Main Street district. So that means Corrales, which means using a community's unique history, architectural, and cultural identity as a business asset instead of relying on generic development. The words I'm reading the words I'm reading is that Main Street will help promote safety, quality of life, historic preservation, and that it will have a positive impact on the quality of life for the residents. I think some of the people have it backwards. You came here for the quality of life, not in mind, not to increase economic growth, but that seems to be what's happening in so many wrong ways. And also on page 56, it says it will collaborate with the village to determine the need and location for an information center and develop a plan for an information center for the village. In other words, a tourist visitor center. Just call it what it is. Corrales doesn't need a tourist center. Everyone knows where a special little piece of dirt is because all of the advertisement that has been put out. Instead, over and over again on Main Street pages, commercial area, or CA. Corrales has a residential commercial area, not just commercial. And that word residential needs to be added in all their paperwork. There's still so many families that live in the area from many, many years ago or yesterday. The words arts and cultural district in quite a few places needs to be taken out. Corrales does not have an arts and cultural district. The ACD was voted down on March 25th, 2025, 1 year and 2 months ago. If you remember, on March 25th, Councillor John Alsobrook spoke against the approval of the ACD with very much emotion and heartfelt words to everyone that night about how he felt. Just watch and listen on YouTube, starting at 1:19 minutes. The MOU talks as if the Arts and Cultural District exists. It's all over social media out there. Perhaps someone with legal status in the village can send Main Street an official letter stating that the ACD was officially rejected on March 25th council meeting. Mayor Hashimoto, on page 65 and 66 of the agreement between the village and Main Street, there's places for signatures. It says, on behalf of the local Main Street Arts and Cultural District organization. Then on the second signature line is for the president of Corrales Main Street Arts and Cultural District compound. The third signature line, ACD Coordinating Council Committee Task Force Chair / Representative, if applicable. The fourth signature line is for the mayor of Corrales. I feel that if you and the president of Main Street sign this paper as is, you are both signing something that doesn't exist. And I just remember also Councillor Alsobrook using the word generic on his talk. And it seems he was so heartfelt, so emotional about Corrales staying as local and rural as it could be. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. Next public comment.
McClernand.
Thank you. I think we're a little late to the party. Pat McClernand, Corrales, Mayor and Councilors. I ask you to carefully consider the long-term implications of the proposed Main Street Memorandum of Understanding before approving it tonight. At first glance, this appears to be a routine renewal of Corrales' participation in the state Main Street program. However, the language of the agreement establishes a much broader commitment. The MOU states that the partners agree to dedicate resources, adopt local economic growth and revitalization tools, adopt appropriate ordinances, tools, and plans where applicable, and dedicate economic development funding to priority economic projects identified through these tools and plans. Yet nowhere in the agreement are the limits of the commitment clearly defined. What specific ordinances might be expected? What plans are contemplated? What economic development tools are envisioned? How much future funding could be requested to implement projects identified through these plans? These questions remain unanswered. The agreement also states that the parties hereunder agree that they have read and fully understand the obligations and responsibilities in operating as a partner. This is important language. In this document, the village is acknowledging that it understands and accepts the responsibilities associated with being an active Main Street partner. My concern is that this will shift the village priorities away from the values that residents consistently identify as most important: preservation of rural character, protection of agricultural lands, limited commercial expansion, and maintaining the quality of life that makes Corrales unique. I believe the public deserves a clear explanation of what commitments are being made on its behalf. Therefore, I would ask the governing body the following question for the public record. The MOU states that the village fully understands the obligations and responsibilities of operating as a partner. This is illustrated in Article 8, which also references the attachment 1. Can the governing body identify specifically what obligations, funding commitments, implementation responsibilities, and future policy actions it believes the village is accepting through this agreement? If these commitments cannot be clearly explained, then approval should be denied until both the council and the public fully understand the consequences of the agreement they're being asked to endorse. It's not like the I agree check mark that we put when we renew all our software. I think it's not between millions of people, it's between 3 or 4 parties. And I think that it's more important that we understand these obligations. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Councilor Murray.
Well, I was wondering if Main Street would like to respond to the public comments. I mean, I think it's only fair that they've raised issues.
Sure.
I want to see what Main Street says to it.
I don't know that I'd have anything to really add to what we presented before. And I can't say this was 100% confidence, but I don't believe the language in the new agreement, the MOU between the state, the village, and Corrales Main Street is any different than it has been in the past. And so I state that because I think that gives you a feeling for how it's operated in the past. And in my opinion, anything that we would ask of the village as far as a possible additional funding or anything like that would obviously come back to the council and have to be approved and be a part of the village's budget and that sort of thing. So there's no plan or intent to do those sorts of things as it relates to the agreement.
Councilor Murray.
So let me ask you this then, because in the previous Main Street agreement, we could break the contract with or without cause. Does that mean the MOU then becomes invalid as well?
Correct. In my opinion, yes.
Legal, does legal have any comment about that, or?
Mr. Mayor and Councilor, generally termination for convenience that's often called, or termination at will. Generally, it means what it says.
Yeah, but I mean, the MOU itself, it would also terminate, or it'd still be in place?
If it's terminable at will, then
Well, I don't know about the MOU is, but I mean, the contract we have with Main Street says we can terminate with or without cause. I just wonder, is the MOU then invalid?
Councilor, I think you raise a good point, and it's something I really haven't looked at carefully, but I was wondering myself why we have an agreement with Corrales Main Street and an MOU, a biennial MOU with Main Street. I have the same confusion.
Does it hurt anything if we postpone that for clarification?
It doesn't bother me.
The question would be,
Main Street, does it, I mean, does it impact you if we ask for a postponement on this?
Short answer is no. I mean, the current agreement runs till June 30th of 26. So we're within compliance at the moment, and this pending action this evening would extend it for another 2 years.
So who makes the change on the MOU then? Is that through you or is that through the state?
No, that comes from the state. And again, I'm talking on ground that I'm not real sure of here, but the odds of getting a lot of change in that language, I think is pretty remote because that's a document that is used with all the main streets throughout the country, I believe, at least throughout the state. But they have a document very similar to that, if not exactly the same thing for each Main Street program in New Mexico.
Is that a question we could ask the state, that if we were to terminate your contract, that the MOU then becomes invalid as well?
We certainly can track down some information and get some answers to that question, sure.
I have a question. Has the state ever terminated a contract with a municipality because state felt the municipality was not doing what it agreed to do?
I don't know is the best answer. I could make an assumption, but I don't know.
I would guess it'd be rare. That'd be my guess.
Well, and I think one of the key words that Mr. McLaren read was appropriate. And I think that's probably in there. So each community is able to do what's appropriate for the community. I'm sure it's intentional that it's in there. But I think to Jim's point, it's always been signed. And the benefit to being a partner, I think, is having the access to Main Street, being able to get funding versus Main Street asking the village for funding. I think the hope is that it opens up an avenue if a project were to be agreed upon, that a Main Street program is there as a support entity for that. And then obviously the technical assistance, I've talked about it quite a few times, but that in itself is a valuable asset to having a partnership with the Main Streets.
Now, I don't have a problem with the contract we have with you. It's just the state language
Sure.
as pointed out by Mr. McLaren. That's where I'm coming from.
If we could ask
We
about-
keep that contract with you and not keep the MOU with the state?
No. No, it says it. And if I may, on page 73 of your packet, number 1 under the requirements for our local Main Street is that we have an active MOU from the state approved, and then having a scope of services contract. So that to sort of answer Mr. McLernan's point, that scope of work that you just approved with our local agreement, that lays out all of the details that this alludes to. So you've already laid out, we're going to give them $55,000 a year. That's our financial commitment to Main Street. And then that agreement laid out what they will do for us and what we will do for them. So that's why we have 2 agreements, is that it's required by this MOU. And then secondly, that agreement, the local agreement, lays out all of the details that are just kind of questionable in this MOU.
Yeah, my personal feeling is that, local Main Street really has significant value for the village. We don't have any organization or any part of the component of the village itself to do what Main Street does. And so I'm less concerned what the state MOU says, but more concerned with our contract with local Main Street.
And I am certainly not an attorney, but the way I read that is if we were to terminate our MOU, it would nullify if we terminated the services agreement with local Main Street, then that would nullify the MOU. But I don't think it explicitly says that, but because it does say that we have to have that as part of their agreement to run Main Street, it would make sense to me that if we didn't have that local agreement, that this would be nullified as well.
If I could, I would agree with what the administrator just reported, that if we don't have the local agreement in place, we're in Corrales Main Street are in violation with the state. So we would lose our accreditation and all of the things that we work for from that standpoint. And I would yield to the attorney for sure, but my sense is I can't imagine Mexico State Main Street trying to force the village of Corrales to have an agreement with an MOU or whatever we want to call it and for it to have a Main Street program. That just doesn't seem to me to be a part of the cards, if you will. So.
Any other discussion by council? So we have a motion now, and we've had a second to approve the state MOU contract with the village. Is this a resolution? It's not a resolution. Is it? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Council Mayor, how do you vote?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Okay. Next item was the approval of the fireworks ban. Do we have we had a motion?
Yes.
Motion, could we have a motion, please, to approve this?
I move we approve 26-28.
Second.
Any discussion? Councilor Murray.
So it's good through June of 25, June 25th. Does that mean we have to come back and
Correct.
reevaluate this and reapprove it?
We've already written the resolution to renew it, so.
All right.
Yeah, we can only, by state statute, only have it the ban be in effect for 30 days. So, yeah, we will bring this back.
We're going to change the item number 1 where it talks about.
So the reason it's worded that way is because the anything bigger than that are already considered illegal. So this bans the smaller ones in addition to the bigger ones. And this is the same wording that we've used. We didn't pass one of these last year because the governor didn't give us the designation, but we did do it 2 years ago, and we used similar wording from that previous resolution.
So this would satisfy Bob altogether?
Yes. Yes. So it does include all of them, sir.
Okay.
Thank you for pointing that out, though.
Okay. And so we have, should we approve this thing, right? We vote?
Yeah, they'll need a roll call vote for this one.
You roll call vote?
Yeah, it's a
Roll
resolution.
call vote. Councilor Waldman, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilor Knight? Councilor Murray?
Yes.
Councilor Mira?
Yes, sir.
Okay, motion carries. Next item, consideration action approval of resolution 26-29, approving Roadrunner Waste Services Incorporated rate adjustment. May I have a motion, please, for approval?
Motion to approve?
Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes.
Yes.
And I do believe we have some representatives from the company here if they have questions for.
Okay. So do we have any questions for the representatives? Councilor Knight?
Thank you, Mayor. Hey, gentlemen, thanks for coming tonight. So how much of an increase is there gonna be? 'Cause I'm sure you're not here to tell us we're gonna have a decrease.
That is correct. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Ms. Counselor. We are requesting a 4% price increase. Taking it residential, for instance, from $70.83 quarterly to $73.66.
Councilor Woolman?
I noticed that I was surprised that you cite the landfill costs, but not fuel. Last time you were here, it was fuel.
Yes, we meant to put that in there originally, but didn't at the time that we presented the landfill cost increase.
And for the
But yes,
residents
it's
that couldn't
across the
hear,
field.
4% increase.
And which landfills do you use, Rio Rancho?
We use the one in Southwest and Sandoval County.
I'm sorry. Where?
We use for
Sandoval County is where we take Corralis's waste.
Vidalia, yeah, okay. Thank you.
Councilor Knight?
Thank you. What about the recycling? What's happening with that?
So we take that over to Barco Mixed Recycling Facility over on Edith.
Okay, are those prices increasing at all?
Not at this time that I know of. They might, depending on how the cost for recycling goes up and down over time. But mostly it's the fuel, the cost of the operations, as well as landfill costs going up.
I have a question, actually. How much of that recycled goods is really recycled?
Yeah.
Well, it's actually a pretty cool process. We have, so we drop it off at the facility and they bounce it on these nodules to separate it. And then we take whatever is trash, we take that over to the landfills, whatever recycling, we recycle it. And we pack it all in-house, depending on what it is, from cardboard to mixed plastics. Then we ship it off to whichever facilities recycle them in-house.
And are those facilities in New Mexico or are they national?
I don't believe so. Unfortunately, back about 7 or 8 years ago, when we stopped sending it over to China, we didn't really have enough facilities nationwide to do all the recycling that we want to do. So as we continue to build them, unfortunately, there's not always as accessible.
And do they bill you or you bill them for the recycled goods? You send them 2 tons of cardboard. Do they pay for that or do we pay for them to take it?
We do get some money for the cardboard that we do recycle, but most of that goes to the sorting and everything of that nature. So it's kind of just an even wash.
Okay. Councilor Murray?
Thank you. So the 4%, is that across all services or just?
Correct.
Okay, and then when you apply the GRT and the 5% franchise, that is only for the services that are not compounded with 5% franchise fee being added to the service, and then you
Correct.
go in
It's
with the
not.
GRT?
It is not in there as of yet.
Okay, so they're individually and then they added in the bill?
I
Okay.
believe so. Is that what it is? Yes.
Okay.
Councilor Walden?
Yeah, I'm just curious about the recycling. And I don't know whether you've looked at this or not. Is it what you expect from the residents overall in terms of recycling? And second of all, I want to thank you for your glass recycling that you set up a couple years ago. It's really helpful. So
It's one of the few places that we can get it done.
So
We like it.
is this what you expected in terms of the residents' response in terms of recycling?
For the most part, it's an ongoing process to help everybody understand what can be recycled and what cannot.
Yeah.
We're still experiencing probably only about 60% of what gets recycled is actually recyclable. The rest of it, unfortunately, is people putting the wrong items in. Something as simple as a pizza box full of grease. You actually can't recycle that,
Right.
just little things of that nature.
Be very careful of it.
A few years ago, you guys sent us a list of what can and can't be recycled. Could you send that to us again for an upcoming mayor's message?
We can do that. We have a resource on our website as well that people can go in there, type in, hey, I have this thing, and it'll tell you, hey, that you can put that in your trash can or you can put that in your recycle cart as well.
You said it's on your website?
Yes.
Okay.
Any
I would
other?
say I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was just to say, we gotta change up our mix of recycled barrels versus trash barrels. And contacting your office, they were terrific. They're really very responsive and knew the information and got it done immediately. So really appreciate that.
Thank you very much for that feedback.
Councilor Murray?
Thank you. So on your calendar, I was looking at one about a couple months ago, and it looked like every Friday you had recycle, but you did not specify where you were recycling. And we're like every 2 weeks, but I couldn't tell on your calendar where the actual date you guys were going to come by. I've got it on my phone. It's every 2 weeks. It shows up in my calendar, and you guys are like clockwork. But I couldn't tell by your calendar who was being recycled, what, where. So I just wondered if you could improve that on your calendar and say Corrales is these dates, and then everybody else or whoever,
Yeah, that's something we're actively working on our side for it. We've had, a lot of people bring it up to our attention. So that's something that we're currently working on right now to make sure that our system is working correctly to get everybody split up. It's just the way that our routing software works. It kind of, when we changed over to it, it kind of brought everybody into it and just gave everybody every week. So right now we're kind of trying to weed through it and get everybody on the correct schedule. So when you guys go look at that on the website, it does give you the correct information.
Okay.
Chief, do you have something to add?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mayor, Council, thank you. Just a couple of comments. I know you guys have helped us in the past and currently help us with our community cleanups, providing dumpsters, providing trash receptacles at our Bosque access gates. We really do appreciate that. in the years past, we've come to you with some of our needs in our community, like manure. You offer manure pickup, which we appreciate that. We have a lot of manure. I don't see anything here. We have another, when it comes to fall with leaves and a lot of agricultural burning, and burning leaves tends to be a nuisance in Corrales. Do you have any sort of way to offer some sort of assistance, like a vacuum truck where you can, pick up the leaves and then kind of send it to the landfill for composting or something? It's just a question out there because it's kind of a needed thing in Corrales, I think. Especially if the cost was right, to try to eliminate the burning and just trying to recycle a lot of the leaves that we have in the fall. So
We do have a couple different options. Unfortunately, we don't have a truck that can just suck up the leaves, unfortunately, but they do for purchase have bags that are compostable. And basically you can fill those with the leaves and you take them to the landfill, and that'll actually help break down some of the trash that's already happened as well.
Okay.
As long as they're not put in like plastic bags, but tote bags that break down. Then we can just throw them in the trash as well.
Okay.
Is it anything else up for Corrales?
I think some of the concerns that I've heard talking to some citizens about trying to find an alternative way of not burning, but trying to recycle leaves, we're talking large quantities. And so some of the citizens would have a hard time bagging, an acre of leaves. But anyways, just throwing that out there, maybe something to consider maybe in the future. So, okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, well, so we have a motion and a second to approve the Roadrunner Waste Services rate adjustment.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, good. Any discussion on this? All in favor, say aye.
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 Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. It's not, the roll call vote is in. Counselor Woltman, how do you vote? Counselor Knight? Counselor Murray?
Yes.
Counselor Mira?
Yes, sir.
Is that a yes or no?
That's a yes.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Motion carries. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you for your time.
Item number 6, ICIP final discussion. We don't need a motion on it. This is the discussion.
Yeah.
Melanie, you want to bring up a?
Yeah, if I may real fast. So in the packet, you can see kind of how I did calculations. I did help Mandy out. She was trying to finish up open enrollment for our staff. So we figured making sure that all of our staff has dental insurance was a higher priority for her than figuring out our ICIP list. So when I put the ranking list together, if there's anything council would like to change, now is the time. We can go ahead and move stuff around, but I would like to respectfully request that we add an item. I had mentioned a couple of meetings back that I was looking into cameras for the Bosque. Chief Martinez and I met with a company called AEM, and it just so happens that they're the company that does the camera system for New Mexico forestry. And so I said to Chief, what would be your ideal system? If we didn't have to worry about money, what would you want? And that's what we had quoted to us is cameras at each one of the Bosque entrances, a camera up on top of Angel Hill. It would also have a lightning monitoring system. This would come in handy for not only the fire department for monitoring lightning strikes, but also for our swimming pool to know when lightning is nearby. And it would also have other monitoring for weather. So the total cost came in at $278,057. So I would like to request that we add this item to our ICIP list and possibly try and get some funds through capital outlay next year. We don't have to go with this entire system right off the bat. It is customizable. We could start out with just a couple cameras. I don't know if it would be okay for Chief to kind of talk a little bit about his ideas for Angel Hill. But I got goosebumps when he mentioned, Angel Hill, the angel looking over the village, having that as kind of our lookout point, kind of taking care of us. So that would kind of be our starting point of overlooking the village. And, these are cameras that would be able to be monitored I don't know if it would help us with some of the motorized vehicles in the Bosque, because we'd have eyes on the Bosque when not everybody can be out there. So if it's all right with council, I would like to add this to our ICIP.
Is that a heat detector too?
Yes.
It is. It's a camera with an image, but it also detects heat, infrared. Is that correct?
Yeah, this was for cameras. It was for the SIM cards. That everything is solar and cellular, so there would be no wires running to any of these cameras in our Bosque. The weather station would monitor both. It would give us alerts if it detects smoke. It would also have the heat monitors to detect a hot spot, and then the lightning monitors, and then their service contracts are included in that cost as well.
Councilor Knight and then Councilor Woolman.
Thank you. So these would be specifically, if there was a problem, the chief would hear about it right away.
Yep, it does have a system that would alert our firefighters, and also, I mean, I believe, Chief, you got an alert from the camera that was up on, was it Sandia?
Yeah. Mayor, Council. So the way the technology is just advancing, so if there was some sort of heat signature, you'd have to program the different levels of, notification. But let's say, for example, there's a smoke, something catches the camera's attention, it'll lock in on that. I believe it could send it to a text message. There's just different ways of notification. For lightning, for example, if we had a lightning strike within the area, the lightning indicator will alert that there's been a lightning strike based on its polarity and all that, whether it's air to ground, air to air, air to ground contact. And a camera could then fixate on that heading of where the lightning strike was. So it's really, really great technology. It would be very helpful if we were able to, add this to a list and seek funding, whether it's grants or capital outlay, to try to add some of this infrastructure in the village. Because if you look at calculating the times that we go out there on patrol when it's a windy day, and we try to cover the whole village with staff. I know PD's out there. We encourage citizens to be, an extra set of eyes for us. But having these monitors nonstop, and not just for fires, but if we have them in the concentrated areas, let's say Alameda and Siphon, which are two popular areas, law enforcement, our dispatch center can log in and just kind of scan the parking lot if there's activity or something.
And this would cover the whole village, the west side as well, not just the Bosque, but like you said, Angel Road, that would cover the west side if there's any fires that fail.
Yeah. Mayor, Council, when Administrator and I met, when she asked me the question, what would you like, Chief? And I'm like, well, I want everything. But, the Bosque entrances, and that would cover like the Bosque and close to the wooded area. The one up on top on Angel Hill would help cover the whole valley. And so for an example, like on red flag days or high wind days, we try to send crews out on patrol to cover the Bosque, the side streets. And if we have enough personnel, we do shifts and go up to top of Angel and park and glass with binoculars, because you could see a smoke before someone can actually see it, down in the valley. So.
And this will integrate with the system that already is in existence with New Mexico State Forestry. So the gentleman we met with was actually able to log in and show us that there's already a weather station right across from us in the Pueblo of Sandia. There's already some detections on top of Sandia Crest. So this would integrate in with the rest of the system that the state is already using.
Councilor Murray, then Councilor Woolman.
So how many cameras are we talking about? And then also, what is the most expensive component? Is it the weather station, or is it the congregate of the cameras?
So we're looking at 6 cameras in total, and each camera costs $13,000. So the cameras are probably the most expensive component.
Weather stations, how much?
The weather station, let's see. There's 2 different weather stations on here. One is $31,000 and the other one is $37,000.
Where's the difference in the money? Because if we get 6 cameras, That's less than what? 90?
So there's also the power, the mounts, the cables, the battery enclosure, the engineering to install them. So total for 6 cameras is $203,832. And that includes installation and the wireless telemetry setting up. They actually have a dashboard that if we wanted to, we could make some of it public facing so people could log in and assist with some of the, hey, I saw something that looks like smoke. You might want to take a look at this. Some places use it. Oh, there's also a whole system we could use for monitoring flooding, because flooding is a problem in certain parts of the village. We talked about possibly even modifying some of those flood monitors to monitor our tanks, our water tanks, so that the fire department doesn't have to drive up to a certain tank to make sure that, what the water level is in the event of a fire. They could just grab their app and go, oh, okay, well, we're getting down to, the tank is almost empty. So, they can better plan their firefighting efforts. So.
Since this is a joint operation of the Bosque, I'm wondering how much MRGCD is contributing to this.
Well, that's part of, we're hoping that maybe we can get some money from state forestry, since this is, integrating with the system they already have. We can look at talking to MRGCD. This is all just, this literally just came in. So we haven't really had a chance to discuss this with other entities yet, but that potential certainly exists.
So you haven't had a discussion with MRGCD,
Not yet.
necessarily about the price, but the concept.
Right. Yeah, not yet. We just wanted to see what our options were. So.
We get state forestry would be a better bet than MRGCD. It doesn't like to spend much money on the Bosque. Yes.
So what are the limitations then to the system? Because technology moves at a pretty rapid rate. Would the cameras become obsolete within 2 or 3 years? And is there a maintenance contract that follows on with this? If the cameras fail, or what's the warranty, and how long are they good for?
So this does include a service contract. It doesn't state this doesn't state how long the service contract is good for. But yeah, there's a few questions we still need to answer on some of this. But yeah.
And how long has state forestry had this, Chief?
I want to say a couple of years, but in the last years, is when, we recently had a fire down at the south end of Corrales. It was a structure fire, and it alerted the cameras up on top of the crest, and we're getting phone calls that we may have a heat signature in our Bosque, because the structure fire was pretty close to the Bosque. So, but I don't know how long it's been operational, but this year I know for a fact it's operational.
Councilor Waldman?
Regarding a previous conversation, I've just observed that a number of Western states are using artificial intelligence in terms of fire monitoring and stuff as well. So,
yeah, I think he mentioned that their system does use some AI, and they've been training it. The state of Arizona uses this system as well. In fact, the gentleman we spoke to is a wildland firefighter in Arizona. And part of the reason it took some time to get this back from him was he was off fighting a fire. Yeah, they've had people training the AI to be able to tell the difference between smoke and a cloud in the mountains. So.
Where are you proposing to put this in our ICIP? Because you've ranked them right now, and I've got some questions about that, because I'm a little dubious about one of them. But where would you want to put this? And we don't have a full council, which everybody can agree on. Councilor Burkett probably would have very strong opinions as well. But getting back to the ICIP, obviously Perea Road is not $7 million.
No, that was my keyboard's fault. My apologies. Okay. Yeah, by the end of the day, my keyboard does this thing where it just starts adding in zeros and O's, and I ended up having to send a help ticket to
send that up to LA.
Yes, no, yeah, I submitted a ticket to IT, and it says help with mouse. So, and I have to reboot the computer. So.
I went through and looked at the ranking or the numbers on that, and I did not come out with the same average.
Yeah.
I don't know how that one got to be number two because what I figured out was that it came in with an average around 14, not 6. I'm not sure how that snuck in because it looked like everybody else had it pretty well down below. There was a couple for, I think, Counselor Knight and I forget one other person had some high I think it was Counselor Burkett ranked it pretty high, but the rest of them were in the 19s and 17s and 11s.
Which one was this?
If you look at the first where it's
Page. What?
92. It's the first one in the bunch.
Oh, 92. Okay.
Yeah. Keep going. There you go.
Yeah, so it actually had a ranking, an average of 9.
Yeah, 9.5. But no, that's Anderson. Let's see, down below, municipal parking had rate, an average of 6.
Yeah, if you look at this, the second page where it says average final rankings, because not everybody ranked all of the projects. So that made it a little more difficult to give it numbers.
Even still, I went through each of the counselors who submitted and I looked at where they ranked it and I added that up and I came up with an average of around 14.5.
So this is the time to move it.
And I would, because I don't think Anderson should be in number 2. I mean, not the Anderson, but the municipal complex. Besides, the site plan's out of date. It's got to go back for a research.
Well, we do have construction documents ready now. And we had an incident on Thursday where one of our police officers was hit head on here in our
site
parking lot.
plan first.
Right. We do need to update the site development plan.
Can't go number 2 on the ICIP.
I would guess just, sort of calculating the rank that if it's not ranked, it ought to be a 0.
So actually what I did, if you give it a 0, because you go with the lowest number is higher up because you're ranking it 1, 2, 3. So if you give it a 0, it actually moves it up higher. So what I did is anything that wasn't ranked, it got a 27. So it actually got moved to as if somebody had ranked it very last.
Okay. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
You give it the low rank.
Yes. Yeah. So it's anything that wasn't ranked got the lowest, and then
27.
yeah, and then there were Counselor Murray. You made this difficult for me, sir.
Especially when you comment that you don't think it matters anyway.
Well, that's right. I know. That's what I say. But yet here it is.
Yep.
But again, if I have to weigh in on this conversation, number 2 should not be the municipal.
And that's why we have these discussions, because sometimes you get a weird, thing because somebody gives it a really high ranking and then somebody else doesn't rank it at all. And this is the time to move it.
Well, one last comment, please. My comment is if it's shovel ready, yeah. If it's a purchase, yes. If it's a no, then it gets right down to the very bottom.
Yep.
Yeah.
So all of yours that were no's, that they got 27s. So that's how I figured yours.
But anyway, that's where I stand if I have to rank these things. That's why I picked what I did.
Counselor Knight?
Thank you. Also, don't the head of the departments also get to participate in that?
So they participate at the beginning of this and give us their list, and then the fire department gave us their rankings this year. But no, the only rankings that were considered is just council. So I didn't rank, the mayor did. So it's just council members that ranked it.
Okay, well, this is what the average was. I think we should go with that.
And to answer your earlier question, I would say if we could put the fire cameras at maybe, 10, number 10, have it in our top 10.
We did go along with village-wide fire suppression. I mean, I would think that would be like a subheading.
It could be a phase of fire suppression if that's, I think that would be just fine.
Counselor Murray?
So my other question I have is, a lot of these projects, we've had the same numbers. Do we account for inflation? That with village-wide fire suppression, $4 million, what was that, 10 years ago? And so with inflation, don't we need more?
Mayor, council, we need more. I couldn't hear you.
More, yeah, I mean, we're not accounting for inflation on some of these values that, for the ICIP. So $4 million, when was that based on? Was that like 2020 or 22?
Yeah, it's just, we're always we're looking at the village overall fire suppression, and you're absolutely right. Some of the calculations we've done years ago, I mean, just today I was getting price of material and it increased a lot on some of the pipe that I need. So it's kind of a place setter of, this is a high priority for the village. I think, obviously supported by the governing body and citizens. We just want to keep it going, and 4 million would help keep it going. But this isn't just, it's hard to explain, but it's not just village wide, like going down we're not calculating private roads. We're not, we're calculating some of public roads. Yeah.
I'm thinking if we go up and capital outlay looks at this, $4 million, we'll give you $4 million. But that's not going to cover everything we need today. Might have 5 years ago, but it won't cover everything we need today.
Correct.
So do we need to adjust?
I'm fine with keeping it at 4 million. With my experience of capital outlay, unless there's some sort of surplus of money, we only get a small portion of what we're asking for. And as you know, a lot of these projects that we have for fire suppression are shovel ready. So, we'll take what we can get, and we appreciate that. And we can apply it to multiple projects, whether it's working our way down to the Bosque along Andrews, the Loma Larga project, the south end, trying to get the Loma Larga to the south end, and of course the north end.
So my other question I have is the remodel of Fire Station 1 is number 14. I asked for that money to be put in the budget. So should we remove this one from the ICIP?
I would leave it in there in case we need to get other grant funding, in case that the money that we set in the budget isn't enough for some reason. Yeah, just as long as we have it on our ICIP list. And that might be the only thing, if we put the cameras under fire suppression, it might be the only thing keeping us from being able to get grant money specifically for that project. Because sometimes it'll say when you apply for a grant, other than capital outlay, and it'll ask you, is this on your capital improvements plan? So that might be the only reason to not lump it in with overall fire suppression. Yeah. And with other grants, it really doesn't matter where it is on the list as long as it's on the list. It's really kind of, with capital outlay, the goal is to try and get your top 5 as your request for capital outlay. But we've put in projects that were not in our top 5 or our top 10. So, as long as it's on the list, the rankings are almost, I don't want to say pointless, but they don't hold as much weight as you would think they do. So.
Well, I have a question with municipal parking facilities. What have we sort of agreed on that? Are we going to leave it as 2? Or are we going to?
Not for me, I wouldn't.
I mean, I guess the council's vote. So
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
My votes were included.
On that. At one point, as I recall, Judge Frechette had some money for this parking lot.
It's still in our
available.
Yep, it's still been set aside into a fund. And she, if she were here, she would say leave it at number 2 because she is deathly afraid that some of her people coming in for court, that somebody's going to fall in our parking lot. I think she gave us, I want to say 175, 179, somewhere around there.
So would that subtract from this 1.1, or is this an addition to?
That was already accounted for in the numbers that are on the ICIP. So the last estimate we got, which was over a year ago now, we were estimating it would cost us $1.1 million to redo the parking lot. And that was if Public Works did a majority of the work. If we hired contractors, it was over $2 million.
And does that include the 179 or 175?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a question again about that. Is that the site development plan is expired for the lot, and so we would need a new site development plan. So the 1.1 would go into the planning process of,
No, it still would cost, the construction estimate is 1.1 million. We already have the construction documents completed. So we've already spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on construction documents that exist.
right, but the site development plan is expired, so the construction documents, I mean, how valid are they when
The construction documents are construction documents. They don't change. With the site development plan is what would need to be redone. And that's separate from our construction
but
documents.
maybe people don't agree with the
Yeah.
construction document. And
Well,
so
then
site development plan should-
we just wasted a couple $100,000.
That's the first time we've done that either, so.
Yeah.
You know, I think, but I
So,
think you're right. It's-
yeah.
it's,
So yeah, I mean, if council wants to move that to other than number 2, that's perfectly fine. If that's your guys' decision. So
Counselor Knight.
Thank you, Mayor. Can't we just keep it at number 2, but then do a new site plan? I mean, is that gonna cost a lot to do a new site plan?
usually a site plan, a site development plan from our engineer. I think our last one was between $30,000 and $40,000.
But if it changes, Counselor Knight, if the plan changes, then the construction drawings are useless.
I get that, but at least we have a figure of what it was, so we can figure out how much more we need.
Well, it was 600,000 to begin with, then it jumped to 2 million. Now it's down to 1.1. So go figure.
But something needs to be done, right? Right?
20 years, we've been working on this 20 years probably. So, I don't know. Well, it's all part of Councilor Mier's talk about how we integrate all of our properties together. You know, we don't have an overall concept of how we want these properties to integrate together. We've got the municipal property, we got the Anderson property on there, we got the Gonzalez property on there, but we're not taking a holistic look at all of the properties and how they integrate into function, within the village. It's just, we're just throwing darts against the damn door.
I guess I don't see where,
Well, anyway.
because we're across the street from Anderson. I'm sure it's not gonna look like, we're gonna look like Art Deco, and across the street's gonna look like, a Pueblo. It's all gonna tie in. I mean, come on. It's all gonna tie in, don't you think?
No, I don't.
It will.
No, I don't. Just
No.
from past administrations.
Yeah, but we're talking about now.
Yes, I know. And that's why we're talking about it.
And actually, we have the $50,000 has been in the budget for now a couple of years. And some architects are talking about how maybe to select what the process might be to select a good person for Corrales. And that's active right now. And so, so a planning process it's slow. Like,
But
finances are slow.
Yeah.
Things are slow. It took me 7 years to convince the village to buy the Gonzalez property.
Yeah. Well, I think it's the mayor's priority to have that overall plan underway by the fall. Was that correct?
Well, certainly get an architect on
Yes,
board.
yes.
As far as, an on-call architect, and that architect can help us.
Yeah.
Whether this a big plan or little plans or the bank or whether they're gonna the 5 properties or a master plan, just to have a little help in direction planning.
Okay.
So we're just saying that when this architect comes on board, this is what he's gonna look at first as he plans for all the other things. Is that correct?
Well, no, I think architect can say, what's the scope? We have 5 different properties. We have a master plan. We have individual properties, help to prioritize, what we should do first. I mean, Gonzalez, neighborhood commercial, yes, too.
Well, so here's the other thing, Councilor I was talking about at the last time when we were talking about the Anderson property. Steve's a wonderful engineer, but I don't want him designing, my house. I want to go to an architect to have him design my house. The Anderson property was, Steve's good at what he does, but he is not a planning architect. So we need to have somebody on board who can take that and look at it and make it useful and not, we have it piecemeal and so forth. The other complaint I had was, and this is to Bob Icor's comment about the charging stations. I originally had proposed they'd be up here, but somehow they got moved down to the Anderson property. Then we got $100,000 grant and they ran the electric line without the damn site plan. That's stupid. That was a waste of $100,000. I mean, we got electricity there now, but it's still a waste of money because we don't know how we're going to use it on that parking lot. That's bad.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
And
I
then-
guess, I don't get a vote on ICIP, but I would think that council does, but, to plan things first, and ICIP ought to be more shovel ready. And that's not shovel ready. And so
I agree.
I don't,
That's why I would suggest that you take it off and put it in a no column.
be fun. We'll drop it down the list, whatever.
Counselors?
I think it should stay at number 2. If that's what the average was, instead of having one person say, no, I don't want it up there anymore. It was a group of people that wanted it there. So I think we need to keep it. I think, as the mayor said, get the architect, get the site plan going, and at least we have some money identified for this project over here.
Yeah. And I was corrected. It's not budgeted money. That money from Judge Frechette is cash in the bank. So we have some money, but it's, a drop in the bucket for what it's going to cost.
I find that the ranking was dubious for number 2.
Oh,
I was surprised when it came up as number 2 as well.
So what should we do with this final ranking?
Is it a final discussion? I mean,
So, yeah.
vote, don't we?
You'll need to approve the final list on June 9th so that we have time to input all of the stuff into the state system because it's due by July 1st.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, based on that last point, I think that really changes everything because I was thinking I had to move quickly, but June 9th, we can really work on what we were just talking about, whether we move it out of second place or not, and other situations. But my question is in that same realm, did we finally decide what to do with the $7 million Perea Road project? Because that one's really off budget there. I mean, where should we look at it? I wish we were just looking at how much we were going to do to develop a plan, because once the plan comes out, they may not want to budget because there might be some land taking, et cetera, et cetera. But where do we decide to put the Perea, and how much is it that you show needing?
So we're estimating 700,000, and that's just kind of ballpark. It is, as you said, once we get into a design, we have to design where all of the water is going to go, and we don't own enough right of way to create pondage. So we may need to negotiate with property owners for putting in ponds along that road or some type of drainage along the road. So that may increase the cost. It may not. It's not a very long road, so it might be a valid. But yeah, no, 7 million was my keyboard adding in, and I thought I had deleted enough zeros, so my apologies. I had one too few the last time, and now I have one too many.
Also,
Okay, thank you for that.
Maintenance is at 18, but I'm not gonna, you know what? If that's what it was, that's what it was, but I wish that was higher.
Yep. We could do it again if everybody wants to actually rank them from 1 to 27 this time, so I can get an accurate counting, because it did make it hard when there were people that didn't rank certain projects. It does skew them.
Right, it will skew them. Yeah,
So-
people probably on the 1 to 27.
Yeah. So if you'd like to re-rank them and get them to me by the middle of next week, we can have them for the June 9th meeting.
I promise I will rank it.
Thank you.
And actually, I have a question about Perea Road. We talked about public safety, and there's a T at the end of Perea Road. And public safety would like to have easements so they can get around, get the vehicles from Perea Road to going east-west onto, I forget what it is, but Lone Lane or something going north-south. And that landowner should give approval for that. Whether that landowner, maybe he or she doesn't want to do it, where does that put Perea Road? I mean, that you know, I guess Steve's, you know, and Chief Martinez, they would be able to get their vehicles around, because if you have a T there, you can't get their vehicles around. So what's the use of doing it? So I mean, that's an issue with Pereira Road too. The homeowners who live along there have to be able to agree, because what's you know, value of doing a little Pereira Road if you can't get your vehicles around there?
Well,
And
question,
so
Mayor.
I don't know how that figures in the whole discussion. Yes, Councilor.
My understanding was Pereira Road was going to be paved from Corrales Road to the T. That was my understanding.
Mhm.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Now, you're correct. You're absolutely correct, because I drove it. And yes, I always wondered too about how can a fire truck make that?
Right.
But that's outside the scope of the Pereira Road.
Okay.
And that's something that, you know, we either have to go to the landowners and ask them, you know, is it a site development issue, or, I mean, a site triangle issue? It is in some respects. Even though I know the fence is pretty
Yeah.
transparent, but yeah, we need to have a conversation with the landowners.
And so that Pereira Road is pretty short, actually, from
Mhm.
Corrales Road to the T. You know, is not a very far distance, and to pave it, I guess it would take some engineering and take some landfill.
Yeah.
And
And-
you know, to make that
Lori has a.
Lori's up there.
engineering.
Oh, thank you, councilors, mayor, minister. Yes, I wanted to point out that one of the most vocal voices in getting Pereira Road paved has placed fencing all the way up into the site triangle. And I think there should be a little give and take. If this ends up getting paved, the fire truck needs to be able to go around that corner, and that's going to necessitate this property owner putting a little skin in the game as well and moving that fencing back, because it comes almost to a point. There's a ridiculous slight little section there, but it really needs to be a pure site triangle by ordinance.
Councilor
That was
Murray?
my comment.
Lori, I agree. And didn't we do that over on Arco Iris? Didn't we have a site issue on that with Loma Larga and where Arco Iris was, or something like that? And we had you worked, or they worked with, you know, we got that site triangle resolved. And it required the property owner to give up some space.
Right. And we had the same thing at Old Church and Calle Conejo, where we took over that section of Old Church. We didn't realize that the village didn't own that little section. And that property owner as well had to do the same thing, because you couldn't see to pull out onto Old Church. And now, you know, the village was assuming liability for that section of road.
What if the property owner doesn't agree to that? I mean, should this be ranked at all? I mean, why rank it and ask for money for it?
Mayor, the property, the road we're looking at is from Corrales Road to the T, not north where the turn, excuse me, the turn is.
But that T is part of the Pereira Road, and then you got the T, and the T is a visibility issue.
Well, there's also an issue further north there at the next intersection going into the
North
next
Feliz
road.
Pereira.
So, it's something we need to work on. You're right.
Well, they're two in it. They're both T.
Yeah.
And, you know, if the landowner does not agree to give the village easement for visibility and for just, you know, getting around safety, public safety, why do we even rank it?
Yeah. Well, we can discuss that June 9th.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you can have re-rankings to me by next Wednesday, then we should be good.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other discussion on this? Going on to future agenda items. Number 1, appeal hearing for the property on Meadowlark and Corrales Road is next Tuesday.
Yes.
And actually, I have a question for the attorney. Now, the minutes for that planning and zoning meeting where that property is being appealed from are in the packet. If a counselor or mayor looks at that agenda, looks at those minutes, does he or she have to recuse himself from voting?
No.
I mean, it's in the minutes. I mean, it's in the packet and you have to realize you
That-
can't look at it.
No, the minutes will be part of the record.
Yeah.
The video of the meeting is not part of the record.
Yeah.
But the minutes will be part of the record for the appeal hearing.
So can the counselors right now look at those minutes?
Yes,
They can.
they can. Yes,
Okay.
because that's considered the official record of the meeting. The recording is not considered the official record of the meeting. And there's things that are people's opinions that aren't included in the minutes because they're opinions. And so the way our appeals are done is on the record. So so we're okay.
After the meeting, so some people say, well, you should go in the meeting cold and you just listen to the evidence that's presented at the meeting. But since the minutes are in the packet on Friday, you can look at those minutes before the meeting.
And you'll get another packet on Friday before the appeal hearing that'll have those minutes and then the original application as presented to P&Z and then just sort of a recap of what happened from the planning and zoning administrator. So yeah, it's a good question though, but yeah, we're good. Yeah.
Look at those minutes.
Yes.
We actually just went to court over that very issue, the video versus the minutes. The minutes are part of the record, and so it's fine to look at them.
In advance of the
minutes,
appeal
yes,
hearing.
yes.
Okay, number 2, draft no parking ordinance, and maybe we ought to change it to discussion, no parking ordinance, because there are probably several versions.
So it was postponed to a date certain, so it has to be on the agenda as an approval. It can be postponed again.
Postponed at that time?
Yes, so it has to come back as the resolution to publish and post. But if council doesn't like the agenda, we just do it again but it was moved to that date. So anybody who attended that meeting expecting it to be approved knows that this was the
There are
night.
several versions that might be applicable.
We could have a discussion.
Oh, yeah, you can totally still have the discussion and then choose not to vote on the resolution, but it'll appear on the agenda as consideration, action, and approval of whatever the resolution number was when it was originally postponed.
Great. Number 3, approval of ICIP list. We discussed that. It's going to be quite a meeting on the 9th.
Yep.
Next, approval of resolution for change to PER plans for police and fire employees, also on the 9th. Number 5, 40-year water plant update is in July. And draft noise ordinance discussion we haven't gotten back.
Yeah, they had emailed me last week and said that we should have the draft by this week, but I haven't seen it yet, so I will follow up with them. And then the uniform traffic ordinance was supposed to appear tonight, but of course, at the very last minute, we discovered there were some things that were not quite ready for prime time. So instead of bringing you a draft that had all kinds of things that still needed to be worked on after all this time, we decided we're going to fix those items and it should come back to you on the second meeting in June, which I believe is the 23rd, June 23rd or the 24th. I don't have my calendar right in front of me, but yeah. So that'll be the second meeting in June.
Okay. Any other additions or yes, Councilor Nunn.
The replacement for Counselor Alsobrook is on the 9th as well, right?
Correct.
Correct. Anything else? Okay.
Now we're going to go into closed session.
We're going to go in closed session now for discussion of the purchase, acquisition, or disposal of real property or water rights by the public body. So can I have a motion to go into closed session, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All approved, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Counselor Meir, I'll call you from my phone to your phone.
Okay. Whoever sees, we will notify people outside when closed session is over.
Okay.
Okay.
Are we back recording?
May I have a motion to go back in open session, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Good, thank you. Motion carries. So to the public, we discussed purchase order agreement on water rights. Period. Okay, since there are no more agenda items, the business session is closed and the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Yeah. It was Counselor Knight made the motion, Counselor Murray seconded to go into session.
Yeah, sure.
So it's just.
And then they reversed it for coming out.
Yeah. Dan Washington.
Yeah, it's okay. Actually, I could tell you because I called Counselor Murray, or not Counselor Murray, Counselor Mieta. Give me a second. 8:59. Mm-hmm.
We have him. So the Main Street people left and they need signatures on this, so.
Just you get the mayor's signatures and all, you can just scan it in.
And we're only doing the one, the other one.
Nope, we got it. Nope, they both work.
Yeah, interesting. Dan Washington.
They ended up approving it.
No, it's just something. Thought it was, you just started. Survey.
Yeah, I mean, they reopened it, public comment, but then they ended up. It's hard for again. Yeah, so they approved it and then they reopened it and they approved it.
That's what I gave, that's what the third.
Or physical therapy and maybe they could.
Yeah, no.
But
Yeah.
she is so good, gosh.
Seeing the guy.
Yeah, well.
You don't like this, right?
Open enrollment due to city of Percy by 5 o'clock. And then.
Oh.
But I couldn't fill it out
Yeah.
prior to that because our staff didn't all answer at the time.
They work great.
And then they sent her the wrong
Yeah.
form, the city of Albuquerque sent her the wrong form. So I was like, it's okay, as long as it's, bless you.
Yeah.
It's not shop on Saturday, we're still in our 72 hours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just, you know, usually none of us want to work.
Yeah, worried.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Kind of jail.
Please.
So.
Yeah. It was like everything. else should have two different-
Yeah. Yes.
It was a.
Let's see, I'm away the weekend before I'm in Boston for my mid school reunion. And actually, I'm on a panel there. They wanted me to talk about, they picked people in the class who've done unusual things after their
Very, very.
medical presence. And they said,
Excellent.
You're a mayor, right? I said, yeah. I said, well, you be part of the panel. I said,
You
okay.
made it.
I'm talking about being a mayor in Corrales. And
And he, no, I have.
do I have to put the date there or you can call it?
So this was,
I mean, what are they?
Main Street number one.
You can't together.
You're like, they're
Everybody else is-
MOU and this is Main Street.
Right.
Manual.
Oh, I got them. They were way down. Oh my God. Your keys are first, so you don't.
Yes.
Your keys in there. Thank you, counselor.
Well, where you go, guys?
Harvard.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Did we get-
No, I drove a cab to Boston.